What's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, representing my team. Today we're gonna go over my Blue Eyes. We're doing an update for them, just on high request. The way we're playing it right now, we're just converting to pure. I did a lot of other variations on Blue Eyes, but what I've been enjoying the most right now, for some reason, is just pure. I don't knock the invoked. I like the invoked. I like the Chaos Max. I like all of those, but I just really like the results that pure has been giving me as of lately. So let's go ahead and show you my build, and we'll explain card choices as we go. So starting with monsters, obviously 3 Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, insane card. The fact that it doesn't say you can only destroy one monster once per turn with this effect is why this card's so amazing, because you can actually hit a monster, synchro or link with him, and then bring him back off of a revival card, and then you can basically pop a monster again. If you have a way to get him off the field, you can revive him again with another revival card and potentially clear 3 monsters, which is just amazing. Like, this card actually helps you to break boards when you have the setup for it. 3 Blue Eyes and 2 Spirit. Now, Blue Eyes is kind of like, if you're playing a different variant, 3 is not always going to be ideal, and it's ironic that anybody would ever say that when a Blue Eyes deck, right? But it's very true. But when you're playing pure, obviously 3 is your go-to. Especially like when you're playing a card like Pot of Desires, you're scared of banishing, too many of them, right? So it's a really smart choice when you're playing pure to do 3. But I think if you're playing other variants, you can get away with 2. And then the Spirit of White, I like this card a lot because it's never been bad. There's not a single format where this card was bad. It's always been insane, especially against Dracos, and Pendulums. Banishing Scales and True Draco spells and traps is really detrimental. And the fact that they could lose complete and total value out of that card, even if they did Pendulum Call, for example, or if, it would have, should have, could have popped the monster. Now it won't. And in-face stones make this a lot more powerful. Hitting just random back rows, baiting strikes. This card's insane. It's actually the most reactive of the 8 dragons we have here. This one's the most reactive, because it clears cards and it pushes for damage. As long as there's a monster on the field, you can clear another threat just by tagging out and swing over something else. So Spirit's kind of like my favorite one right now. I'm not knocking Alternative because he's just retarded, man. Like, he's really good. But that's it for your 8 dragons. And then next up, for your level 1 normal summons, we're playing 3 Sage and 1 Master. So out of these 2, Master's my favorite. If there was for some reason some weird thing that happened that Konami banned Master, I don't think I would play Blue Eyes. It's that serious. Master is actually, he's like my favorite monster in this deck. He's actually absurd. Not just adding back your tuners, but his ability from grave. I want to get him in grave every turn and get that follow up. He's like a revival for any Blue Eyes, and that's important because when you're summoning from your extra deck like Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, right, you can actually bring it back from your grave to your main monster zone, which I've been doing a lot since Master Rule 4 basically was initiated. So that's good. And also, I like adding my effect veilers back for the grinds. I like adding my cards of consonance targets back. I like adding a stone sometimes just to pitch it with melody so I can get an in-face spirit. He helps you to grind, and he's the best card to go into Link Karibo because if you dump a spirit, for example, off Dragon Shrine and there's a back row in your way, you can normal him, link it to Link Karibo, and then use his effect, send Link Karibo off, and then bring this card back and banish the back row and then swing. It's got me game sometimes. So Master is just versatile. Sage helps you a lot too because, he searches, and then he can tutor from deck, but this deck's biggest pool of resources is actually its graveyard and not the deck, because after turn 2 or maybe even 3, you'll find that you won't have any more targets left in your deck, and you're living off your grave. So I feel like Master's the best one. And then for your eggs, we play 3 Ancients and 1 Legend. It depends what variant you're playing, but when you're playing pure, you maximize on these cards. Even if you open up with them, you have cards like Cards of Consonance, Melody, 1-for-1. There's a lot of ways you can get these from your hand to the grave. And their best place is in the grave. Now, the Legend is the +1 of the deck that is not Pot of Desires, and every time you pitch it for cost, you're always going to get a Blue Eye. So, you can Melody with this, and, you get a +1. Because Melody and the discard card will replace themselves with Blue Eyes and Alternative, and this can search for Blue Eyes. So instead, you can search 2 alternatives and just, search the Blue Eyes off of this. So it's a +1 no matter how you look at it and how you use it. And it's part of the archetype, so it's mandatory to play this card. And something that I've been testing out and actually finding success with is 2 King of the D. I find that this card is very high risk, high reward. Similar to Pot of Desires, it's not always the best card to have. The fact that almost everything discards for cost in this deck is why Ash Blossom kind of hurts so much. But at the same time, that's why I decided to start playing a +1 that I didn't want to play before to mitigate for that problem. So this card is really, really scary mid to late game, but it's bad to draw when you open up with it, you know, your first turn hand, because even if you can resolve it, why on earth would you play a revival on your first turn? You want to save a card like that. That's a bombshell. You want to save it for when you really need it, for when your opponent broke your board and you need to reestablish. So this card, I opted to play 2 of it instead of 1 or 3, because 1, I feel like I would never draw it. Like 1-ofs are sacky, right? No matter how you look at it, if you play a card at 1, it's automatically going to fall in the category of sack, meaning, oh my god, I finally drew it. Like 2 is kind of a balanced number. Your 2-ofs are what you want to see mid to late game, and obviously 3-ofs is your card you want to open up with. Unless they're searchable, you can cut them down to less. So I found that 2 King of the D was perfect. I do love this card, and you don't always need to control him to resolve your, you know, your melody, your return, you know, anything like that. Not your return, but your Rhapsody, Dragon Revival. But it's still correct to play this card because it searches out your engine cards, which help you out a lot. And finally, for the monsters, the 1 Effect Veiler. You just need 1, you search it, and then Master gives it back to you as much as you want. If you want to play more hand traps, I recommend that you play more hand traps, because if Blue Eyes can stop a person for 1 turn, they can get game next turn. And then for your spells, starting off with the starter cards, 3 Dragon Shrine, I opted to maximize on this card because I'm trying to load my grave with at least 1 vanilla. Because this card right here, it falls in the category of an extender and a follow-up and also a comeback at the same time. It's a card that you don't want to play early, but depending on the situation and how things are going in the middle of your duel, you always want to be able to resolve this card. So instead of being reactive and trying to force your vanillas in the grave, you could just play cards like this that automatically dump your vanilla in the grave, because remember, in order to resolve this spell right here, you have to have at least 1 normal. So my standard opening of normal Sage, reveal alternative, like when you open Sage Melody, right? You normal Sage, search your Veiler, and then, you know, like pitch an egg if you already had it, and then go alternative, reveal alternative special. You make Spirit Dragon with only Sage and alternative engraved. And then if this dies, you still can't you can't revival Rhapsody it, because none of those dragons are normal. So I like setting up my grave with at least 1 vanilla every single first turn, so that's why I maximize on this. This can also banish back rows because it sends the stone, which brings out Spirit. This can also literally add Blue Eyes to your hand because it sends the legend. This can add an alternative from your grave to your hand by sending your ancients. Like, am I making sense? It does more than one thing. It's a flexible, very versatile spell, and I like it at 3 because it comes up for different different setups, different situations that call for it, and I like resolving more than 1 because it helps out a lot. So 3 of that. And then we play 3 Melody. Excuse the mismatching rarities, but Melody is just insane. It's not even once per turn. These are your starter cards, your engine cards to tutor things from your deck. This can search because it dumps the legend. This obviously searches. Then you have your draw cards. You have 3 trading because it's so easy to resolve this card. You can always get your 8s, whether it's from grave or from hand, from deck to hand. And I do play 2 cards of Continents. I like draw cards that say draw 2 because digging in your deck deeper with Blue Eyes is very, very scary because you're loading your grave and you're replacing everything that you've expended at the same time. And finally, I'm playing 2 Desires in this list. The reason why I decided to play Desires is because I have so much discard for cost cards, and I realize, like, if I get ashed, I'm already down to 3 cards in hand. So what I like to do, instead of playing Desires as the ash bait, I like to use Desires as a safety precaution measure. Meaning, like, I can trade in pitch for cost, Melody pitch for cost, they ash blossom. I Desires knowing that they can't draw and that they can't ash again because I didn't search anything, I didn't draw, and you can only play 1 ash per turn. And then I'll basically go from, you know, 3 cards to 4 cards, and I can continue my plays depending on what I draw. So that's the main reason why I decided to play this card. I don't really like Desires in Blue Eyes because I have so many 1-ofs that I love. Like, I love my Veiler in my deck. I love my White Stone of Legend, right? And I really love my Master. If I banish Master, I might actually cry. And I love my Dragon Spirit of Whites. Like, if I have like both of them banished off of Desires, I'm gonna be really sad that duel. Like, and you'll see that I'm sad because I'm gonna be really sad. There's so many cards I don't want to banish, but at the same time, you know what? Like I said about King of D, it's a high risk, high reward. It's a risky card, but it's worth the payout sometimes. It's just one of those cards that you kind of have to play sometimes, even when you don't want to, you need to. And then we have 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. So the next category of your spells, your revival cards, you have Return. It's the best revival in this deck other than Revival Rhapsody itself. 2 Silver Scry. This is always a trap when you use it. You're always using this to flip this bad boy and banish a card, banish the spell or trap. That's why, again, 3 Dragon Shrines and the Foolish Burial. Not 2 Dragon Shrines and the Foolish, 3 Dragon Shrines and the Foolish. You want to dump your grave, cards to your grave as quickly as possible. So when you open with this, every time I open with Silver Scry, I want to have Spirit of White in my grave already. I don't want to special summon vanilla Blue Eyes off this. I want to dump this card especially every time so that this becomes a trap. And at the same time, it helps you with your pushes because you could play it from your hand in battle phase. It doesn't specify the position, so you could be pushing, attack, attack, attack. Like, for example, I've done this where I swing with this, tribute himself for cost, special Blue Eyes while they still control monsters, swing with Blue Eyes, play this from hand, bring him back, banish a card, and then swing again. And if you read it, his ability to special Blue Eyes is not hard once per turn. So if you have another Blue Eyes, you can drop that if they still have monsters. So you can be very aggro, and at the same time, you can be very like pseudo control with this card. So I like the flexible spell cards, I really do. And I played 2 Dragon Revival Rhapsody. I think this spell is just insane. You need to play more than one of it because you're going to need more than one of it every single duel. Naturally, like, resolving one can get you game, but sometimes you have to resolve one just to make a board, and then when your board gets broken, you have to resolve the other one just to reestablish, if it makes sense. Then your 1-ofs are Reborn and Soul Charge. For the first 2 1-ofs, because they fall in the category of revival cards, so you have 2, 4, 6, and you have 9 revival cards. In addition to this bad boy that you make pretty much every duel, Azure Ice, this deck is very hard to grind with because it's bringing back beaters like every single turn. And then for the final 1-ofs, we play Foolish and 1-for-1. I really like 1-for-1 because it's an additional way to get my Legend, Ancients, and you know it, my favorite card, my Master. I want to get Master immediately. If I could 1-for-1 and Master is not in my hand, I'm getting Master straight from my deck because I love Master. So 1-for-1 is insane. It's really flexible. I like the Foolish because it can dump, you know, this that I need in the grave sometimes. It can also dump my eggs. It can even dump my Master, which is one of my favorite combos. So Foolish is another one of those utility cards that can do more than just one thing. So you don't play linear spells, and I like that. A lot of your spells can do more than just what they say that they do. It's just how you combo with them and how you use them. And then for the only traps that I'm playing now, I just play 3 Torrential Tributes. In the past, I was doing this as like a package. I love Wing Wind Blast. I really do. I love the card, and I love searching this off of Sage, discarding it with Wing Wind Blast, popping a card, and hitting a card on the top of the deck. But I felt like it wasn't doing enough because there are a lot of decks that play through that little, you know, that little disruption. It's tiny disruption. It's not a lot. It's minuscule. And then when they play through it, you kind of just like, you took a -2, right? And they're going to overwhelm you. What I wanted to do was like play 1 card from hand and be able to force my opponent to overcommit. Well, not even force them, but let my opponent overcommit and play 1 card to clear what they wasted. You know, everything that they played from hand just got wasted by 1 card that I set, instead of me taking a -2 and them still overwhelming and ulticating me. Does that make sense? Like, that's why I just decided to not play this package, but I might consider playing it again. So that's the main deck. For the extra deck, we play 2 Blue Eye Spirit Dragons and 2 Azure Eyes. I feel like 2 and 2 is the perfect number. You can even bump this to 3 because this card is really broken. Like, Azure Eyes is crazy. People are so like sleeping on this card. This guy is like bananas. Like, just making your dragons indestructible for not just 1 turn but for the next, and being able to revive your dragons every standby. You grind with this card. I wish he was a Blue Eyes card so that I can add him back from my grave to my extra deck with my Ancients. And then Spirit Cockblocks Pendulums. Inherently stops like any pendulum summoning, any mass summoning of more than 1 monster simultaneously. It negates graveyard effects. So guess what? If they activate Apocalypse to pop your spirit, he'll negate it. It negates any grave effect. It doesn't matter what card it is. Monster, spell, trap, don't matter. And then obviously he can tag out and bring out. What I mostly bring out is this. I never really like to hard synchro summon into this. I like to go spirit. But if I want to revive this, I need to properly synchro summon it. So sometimes I'll properly synchro summon it just knowing that I have a Revival Rhapsody that I can resolve and bring this back, and the Dragon Spirit of White. You know, go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, however I want to do it, and then make it indestructible again. So these synchros are amazing. And then we do play another level 9 synchro Cloud Castle. I like them because if you do properly synchro summon for this card, you can revive it back and then turn it back on and make all your dragons indestructible again. Or you can always bring back your spirit. What I like to do sometimes is actually do Sage, an alternative to synchro summon for this card, and then do the Cloud Castle as a follow-up to bring this back to just keep grinding and keep special summoning and just loop it. And then this, you don't really need to cloud castle this for the most part because you have master to do that for you. If I don't have master, then yeah, I'll cloud castle for it. But ultimately, you're trying to like reestablish this. And also sometimes you want to make calamities. If you're playing Dracos, you never make this card. If you're playing Dracos, you want to make Azurais. But if it's anything that's not Dracos, you're making calamities. Just go cloud castle into one of these, and then into anyone that was properly synchro summoned. Bam, calamities right there. And sometimes you don't even need the cloud castle. You can go master, revive this in the main monster zone, and then synchro summon for this. You know, hard synchro summoning, just the normal way, tuner, non-tuner. Everything's indestructible, and then go into your calamity. So I like it a lot. It's a really, really cool package. The chlamydia, you know, he goes with them. And he's gonna stay there for my XYZs. And the final synchro I play is Black Rose Moonlight. I just like it because it turns my spirit into more of a weapon that I can use him to actually clear threats instead of just run away and hide and try to protect my stuff. I can actually use him to now protect myself, to negate, and also to clear threats at the same time. So it makes him, like I've been saying, versatile. Very, very good card. Like stuff that does more than one thing. And, you know, chlamydia is going to start off our XYZs. So we have chlamydia. We have, you know, I call him True King of all chlamydia. I love this card. Then we have Titanic. We have Felgrand. I feel like Felgrand's a really good rank 8 staple. Making any of your monsters unaffected by card effects, and then their effects are negated. Imagine having a beat stick that's like 3,000 and it can't be touched by any card effects. So that guarantees that you're swinging over Masterpiece because you're just going to literally Spirit Dragon, Banish Diagram, and then, you know, go reactive with this and just swing over the Masterpiece. And he can chain pop whatever, you know, that's fine. But you have beaters for days. So this can also just bait the Masterpiece. And if you already baited it, you don't even need to use his effect. But it just helps. It does. And then I play a full Galaxy package. This time I'm going a little bit more aggro than I was before. Before I was playing a lot more control. Because remember, I was playing the traps. I played 6 traps. I played, you know, different extra deck targets. I played the rank 8s that control more. I chose these 2 as the only negators. Before, I was playing, where's he at? Lancelot. I was playing this as well. And just other rank 8s. But I decided to go for the full package because in Blue Eyes, you can steal a monster. And then you can pop a face up. Then you can pop any card. And then you can go into him, dump your dragons, banish the Dracos. They play like 6 monsters that are actually Dracos. So you make them either banish all their Mono Iwatos or they have to banish the Draco monsters that are important. So Draco matchup, this is a killer. So you basically, like I said, you take a monster, you pop a card, and then attack twice. If you count it up, that literally breaks boards because this can clear 5 monsters. You just bam, 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 bam. It's crazy. Like, it's a really, really good package. It breaks almost every board universally when you're going second. I like it a lot. And then finally for the 2 links, I just did Decode and Link Karibo. This is my most frequently gone into. You can do this and then Soul Charge, or sometimes I Soul Charge and then do this and then do the Revival Rhapsody and just do like a really, really big board. But also, I don't really need to link summon a lot because I do a lot of Revival from my grave with like cards like this and Master, because these are the main cards that I'm always trying to bring out. And once I go through them, when they're properly summoned, I'm just reviving them constantly with Dragon's Revival Rhapsody and Master and this. So I felt like I didn't need too many Link monsters, but you can definitely play Link monsters. I'm not stopping you. But yeah, that's it for my Blue Eyes deck profile, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely leave your honest opinion and feedback in the comment section below. If there's a card that you feel like I'm not playing that you think that I should play, just let me know in a friendly way. Hey man, you know, you should definitely try this card out. I'm not really gonna like, you know, be sensitive. I can take positive or negative feedback the same way. You're gonna get the same answer from me regardless. After this, we're gonna update my Paleozoics because it's been a while and I had like 5 requests on it. Then we're gonna do my True Draco Weather Painters. And then we're going to do my Vendreads. Then we're going to do my Infernoids. Those are all the decks I'm going to do for today. And tomorrow I'm going to be a little busy. And then Saturday I'm going to a regional. So Sunday is when I'm going to be able to upload more content. So I wanted to get enough for, you know, for now to hold you guys down while I'm going to be, you know, busy and not on the channel. But God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. I love you. Y'all have a beautiful night. And you will be hearing from me soon. Peace.